Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox channel. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing details. And you will want details because this is an all-timer, not just an all-time great model and the unarguable icon of the modern Lange Sohne. This is one of the earliest Lange watches made in the modern era. The Lange 1, reference 101001 in yellow gold, 38.5 millimeters, and it's one of the earliest watches with the solid case back. Now, the modern Lange watches were launched in October of 1994, and for a little bit more than a year after that launch, the watches were built with solid casebacks. That lapsed quickly, and some watches were subsequently retrofitted with display casebacks, so these are the earliest and some of the scarcest of Lange 1 models. So it's 38.5 millimeters in diameter in yellow gold, 9.8 millimeters thick. These solid caseback watches are a little bit thinner than the display back versions. 47.1 millimeters from lug to lug with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. And you throw this watch on my wrist, and my wrist is 16 centimeters in circumference. And, well, frankly, it looks ageless, as it's almost identical to the current Lange 1 models. It is low enough with its domed bezel and thin profile to sit underneath the cuff. And you could see that it wears easily on my wrist. I could recommend it for a wrist as small as 13.5 centimeters circumference. The Lange 1 in the 38.5 case has always been a suitable watch for men and women, a real unisex option and a great dress watch. Taking a quick look at the strap, you can see we have large rectangular scale alligator leather in light brown with a monotone stitch, a little bit of bolstering to give it volume, a folded edge, and then on the underside you can see there is a gray calfskin, more like anthracite than a pure gray. A brand new Lange factory strap, not gouged, not crimped, beautifully preserved. And then we have the pin buckle that is a distinctive feature of most Lange watches, and it's a smart one. As you can see, it's all of high polish, Lange branded with fastening outboard, and a few features I always love to point out inside, including the elevated bridge so that the strap fits inside the buckle rather than stacking up and adding height on the wrist. Then you have this little bar that's built in. This little bar is there in case, like me, you have a small wrist and you're going to use the smallest hole, or maybe even punch one or two other holes and wear the watch tight on a small wrist. Well, the problem is that a lot of times a tightly strapped watch on a small wrist will get pinned on the pin, and it can be difficult to remove from the wrist. Well, this little bar gives you a head start, making it easier to avoid getting the strap pinned on the pin. We're taking a quick look at the case. You can see it was essentially perfect from the beginning. It's certainly distinctive of almost every Lange watch, save the Odysseus, made since the 90s. We have a round case. We have a domed bezel with a very shallow vertical portion on the side. The bezel is almost a mirror image of the case back, though you can see the case back here is stepped in a little bit. We have polished case back, polished bezel, a satinated mid case. The lugs are stepped out rather dramatically from the case band. They have a faint beveling on their side that diminishes toward the tip, and they're all of high polish. We have the pusher adjuster for the outsized date. Let's just make sure we're not in the date change danger zone here. Okay, we're not. And you can use this pusher adjuster to adjust the date. And this was originally a device patented by JLC that JLC, IWC, and Lange executive Gunter Blumlein donated effectively to Lange to help restart the brand. JLC would go on to patent a second double-digit date that would be used on the 70th anniversary reverso. Taking a quick look at the little pusher, you can see it's both polished and satinated, so there's a great deal of detail, even on a small part. No design is trivial at Lange and no detail overlooked. We have a Lange Sohne branded on the crown, and then a dial that is silver white. They galvanize it, that silver white color. But as with most Lange watches, not all, but most, the dial base here is made of sterling silver, AG925, so it is a precious metal dial in a precious metal case. We have sunken registers with a concentric pattern for the seconds as well as the hours and minutes, and you can see there's a pronounced overlap between the two registers. We have yellow gold hands, yellow gold indices, yellow gold Roman numerals, and a yellow gold frame for the date. The watch does include a hacking or stop seconds function and a up-down indication for the power reserve indicator, and it is a 72-hour power reserve. The watch is manual wind, and though you can't see it, underneath this epic solid caseback, we have Lange caliber L901. Manual wind, 3-day power reserve. We have 2 mainspring barrels to even out the torque release and maintain relatively constant balance amplitude. 53 joules, 5-position adjustment, beating away at 21,600 vibrations per hour, and the ultimate sign of integrity, those folks in Sachsen, or East Germany, and in Saxony, are finishing the movement to an exquisite level even though you will not see it. The ultimate sign of integrity, doing good work when no one will know. And if you look carefully, you can see that as today, most Lange cases are made in Switzerland, so we have here the Helvetic head with a little stamp G underneath. This was the, I'll do my best to capture this, but this was the precious metal hallmark for 18-karat gold in Switzerland prior to August 1st of 1995. So this really is one of the earliest cases. That's when the case would have been struck, prior to August 1st, 1995. You see this little head of the Helvetic woman, who is a symbol of Switzerland, and then G underneath being the assay office that would have confirmed the purity, and G standing for the Geneva Assay Office. After August 1st of 95, it would have been a little diamond-shaped crest with a dog's head, a St. Bernard's head, and you can actually see that the buckle was made after the watch, because the buckle has the little diamond-shaped hallmark with the dog's head, and then you can see it says CO, meaning Centror, an Audemars Piguet-owned company, would have made the buckle. Again, to this day, most Lange cases are made in Switzerland, and this watch was the beginning of a long line. This is one of the most collectible modern Lange watches, and one of the hardest to find. From the very first batch of Lange 1s, this is the Lange 1 solid caseback. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details. Oh, by the way, 30 meters water resistant, but don't push it.